Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurshada binti Muhammad Zain, AA181131, and I am the first representative for this presentation. I will start off my present with introductions. Currently, Malaysia is facing a lack of filtered water being available due to the constant water crisis happening in Malaysia and the fact that the country is not ready yet to face the crisis. Soon or later, if we do not control our water usage, we will run out of clean water. So one of the ways to counter this crisis is by to reuse the water. We can reuse the water for another purpose, and the water can be reused by filtering it through the filter. Now on, there are a lot of types of filter in the market, with different of quality, different of prices, and also different of experience. So, other than that, there are also multiple designs exist, and with some of required to be outdoors, and some are not being able to fit itself, other things, and so on. So, the DIY do-it-yourself also is rising nowadays because people are trying to decrease the amount of money they spend, and also DIY filter is using an organic substance that can be found everywhere. A way to explore the marketing of such filter, we need to conduct a survey. The purpose of conducting survey is first to gather all information needed from respondents about filter at their homes. Second, to identify the respondents' opinion. Third is to make sure the feedback from respondents received. And the last one is to explore potential marketing for a filter.
My name is Aina Dina, so without further ado, I'm going to explain about the literature review for our product. Okay. As you can see in the slide above, there is three main designs for our filter. Let's move on to our first design, which is vertical water filter. As you can see, there is two valves there that we provide for the user to actually choose either they want the water to flow into the filter to be reusable and keep it in the storage, or they can choose the water to be straightly exert into the drainage. Okay, there is three designs there, which is the first one is vertical, and then pressure, and lastly horizontal water filter. So for our filter media, there's going to be six important media that we already choose based on our research, which is the first one is coarse aggregate, second one fine aggregate, third polypropylene, fourth sour soap seed, fifth activated carbon, and the last one is synthetic cotton. Okay, so let's move on to our first filter media, which is coarse aggregate. So as you know, we can usually find it in an angular shape as shown in the picture with sharp angles, but for filter media it is much better to use a irregular shape. Okay, so the function of it is to actually block any kind of larger waste from the kitchen wastewater. So it usually can be found in the size of 0.5 mm till 1 mm. So for fine aggregate, it is very easy to find. So the function of it is to actually block fine waste such as bones with the size range of 0.25 to 0.5 mm. So let's move on to polypropylene pad. It is very easy to occur. You can actually use it up to 10 times based on previous research, and then the function of it is to actually absorb any kind of oil from the sink wastewater from flow through into the media underneath it. Okay, as you can see in the video, there is a process of making polypropylene pad. Polypropylene is actually a very popular product that being used in oil spill disease because it is very safe to use, and it can actually help to prevent any kind of problem for the sea living creature. So for sour soap seed, it actually possesses chemical ability to treat wastewater by removing the COD or decreasing the amount of it, and then the microorganism within organic systems will break down the toxic compound. So after that, Soursop is actually the main focus of our product, since not everyone acknowledge the importance of the seed rather than the fruit itself. So we use it as a new function in filter, rather than as the rest is the usual thing that you can find in filter. So let's move on to activated carbon. It has a minuscule pore size which increase the surface area. The function of it is actually to remove the odor and COD in water, in the sink water. So as you know, activated carbon is also one product that is widely used for water filtration. So it's very important to put an activated carbon in your filter. Even in a fish tank, usually they use activated carbon to keep it clean. So for our product, it is a very important item, as it has a many function in order to make the water much cleaner than before. So the last point is about synthetic carton. The function of it is to actually block any small particle that flow through with the water, any kind of particle from the water and from the filter media itself, from flow with the water into the tank. So it is a non-absorbent carton and will not soak any water. So that's all from me. I'm gonna pass this presentation to one of my group member, which is Shuhada. Allahu.
Next is the methodology. Methodology, we have to use a website to do a research and also to find any knowledge about water filter. And then we move on to the develop of survey instrument. In this case, we have to create a questionnaire regarding the usage of water filter among Malaysian, the respondent preference in e-filter, and also the marketing survey for new design for e-filter. After we have done the develop of survey instrument, and then we have to move on to the pilot test. So pilot test means we have to consider and choosing questionnaire without any bias. Then we have to test the questionnaire, the survey, by giving out to a few people with a small time taken. And then the number will be calculated, and after we get the result for pilot test, we're gonna calculate it using alpha conversion. Alpha conversion should be in range 0.7 until 0.95. If it is below than 0.7, that is mean you have to repeat the pilot test until you get above the 0.7. And then if we have time with alpha conversion, we're moving on to the data collection. Data collection, we use a platform such as Google Form to perform survey. And moving on that, we're gonna analyze the data. How we're gonna analyze data is using a mathematical formulation like frequency, mood, mean, and score. And also we're gonna use graph. Any graph, bar graph, pie graph. And lastly, we're gonna do the result. The result is descriptive information of water filter that we need to conclude for the design preference, and also we have to do results on the market survey for price, design, or maybe prefers indoor or outdoor. Moving on to the result, the first one is the respondent background. As shown in graph of respondent salary, the mode for respondent salary is above RM3000, which is 32.86%, and the lowest frequency for respondent salary is no salary, which is 7.04%. This survey was conducted without any condition. It means every diversity can answer this survey. So, the no salary maybe come from the students who did not have incomes or not have any job. The next graph is the graph of respondent location. The mode for the respondent location is Selangor, and the second highest is the Kuala Lumpur. However, there is no respondent came from Sarawak, Perlis, and Labuan. Next is the respondent occupation. As shown, the mode for the respondent occupation is the student, which is 34.74%. This is because students tend to spend time more to their gadget rather than adults. And also, the first survey was released among the students before it reached out to the adults. Next is the status of water filter. The first graph is the graph of importance of water filter based on respondent. Almost all of the respondents agreed that water filter is very important to have at homes. This is because it is easier and safe cost to get clean water. Next is the percentage of respondents that own a water filter. About more than half of respondents do have a water filter at home, and also almost half of them have indoor water filter. And our team try to understand the respondent by giving them a chance to rate their water filter. The highest score and the highest frequency of water filter efficiency rate is 5, which means a full score. This proves that they are very satisfied with the experience with water filter and also verified with the outflow from the water filter. However, we can see that there is none of them score 1, which is mean the lowest one. This proves the water filter is very necessary and also helps a lot in making sure the water is safe and clean to be used. Based on the graph of water filter brands, the mode for the type of water filter that was used by respondent is KA, and also the mode for the cost of purchasing the water filter is above RM3000. This shows that even though it's quite pricey, but if the water filter gives high quality, gives satisfaction, and also matching with their preference, users will willingly to get their water filter. The graph of percentage water filter needs electricity to operate shows that 74.18% of respondents do have the water filter that needs electricity to operate. This is because while indoor, electricity is required because it will have to flow a small amount of water and also heat the water without having to wait for the hot water to arrive. However, there are some of water filters that did not require any electricity, such as reverse osmosis and also mixed media water filter. Next is the graph of frequency performance maintenance for water filter. As shown in graph, the mode for the frequency performance maintenance for water filter is every 3 months, which is 44%. Moving on is the graph of percentage requirement for professional to perform maintenance of filter. About more than half do have to require professional to do maintenance for their water filter. This is because the user did not have a quite good knowledge about water filter components, so they do need assistance. Last but not least for my part is the graph of duration to perform water filter maintenance. The mode for duration of performing water maintenance is less than an hour. However, as you can see on the graph, there are a small number of respondents that use to do their maintenance about 2 until 3 hours. However, this is not very efficient duration as it is not preferred by many people.
Now, according to the data obtained from the survey for the filter design, 73.71% of respondents believe that sink wastewater could be filtered and be reused. Now, this could be tied into the fact that there are many numerous ways to treat kitchen wastewater with the goal that it could be reused, that could make other people more interested in the topic. In the other figure, for preferability to have a water filter under the sink, 75.12% of respondents say that they would prefer to have one. Even according to other statistics, 50 up to 80% of household wastewater is grey water. And if a composting toilet is used, then it becomes 100%. So by using an under the sink water filter, it can help reduce the amount of grey water. Onto the data from the market research segment of the survey, around 94.84% of respondents would like to have a water filter that would not require electricity to function. This could be because it would reduce the amount of electricity used in the house when using the water filter, and it could in turn decrease the utility bills of the house. Moving on to the next figure, the data shows that over half of respondents would like an economic and one-size-fits-all filter, whereas 42% would like an adapter that would allow any water filter to fit into any place. Now, the fact that the data is almost half and half shows that these two features would be features that would be popular among consumers and customers. Based on the next figure, for the preferred e-filter design, the most favorite e-filter design is vertical water filter with the highest frequency and pressure water filter with second highest frequency. Now, this could be said due to vertical water filters taking up the least amount of space in an area. On to the next figure, a reasonable price for the e-filter as set by the respondents is somewhere between 100 ringgit and 199 ringgit. This is because when factored in labor costs as well as other charges, that price is still a reasonable price for an effective yet cheap filter compared to the other water filters from bigger companies. Now, onto the discussion. Survey on the water filter will indicate that the respondents would prefer an indoor water filter that does not require electricity to operate, nor professional assistance for maintenance. It should also prioritize quality and safety, and duration of maintenance should be less than 1 hour, preferably. Now, onto the topic of specifically the e-filter. The design should preferably be vertically designed, it should be economic, and should be non-electricity, and also is a one-size-fits-all filter according to the respondents.
So, welcome back with me, Puan Maizura and Encik Iwan. I'm going to explain for the conclusion part. For the conclusion, we can conclude that the data was collected from Google Form by distributing it to many different groups through diversity, the responses in form, and then the data was analyzed by using many equations and calculations such as mean, mode, and lastly frequency distribution. And from the analyzed data, we can conclude that the respondent mostly preferred a low-cost, do-it-yourself filter and non-required professional assistant water filter for our e-filter. So that's all from us. Thank you!